So today we're going to be looking at effective communication, specifically collaboration, problem solving, and conflict resolution. So we're going to look at what does this look like. So let's start by talking about why effective communication is important. Well, first, it's how we build positive relationships with people in general, but especially with our coworkers. We need to remember that we are the adults in the building, so we're the role models for students. So it's our responsibility to show them how to communicate effectively. And then lastly, it's important to keep in the back of our mind that we're all on the same team. We're all working together, doing our specific roles with the goal in mind of doing what's best for students. So there are three types of communication: collaboration, problem solving, and conflict resolution. We're going to look at each of those a little bit more in depth. So let's start with collaboration. We're going to look at its definition. So this is from the book Interactions by Friend and Cook. So the definition reads interpersonal collaboration. So interpersonal being between people kind of working together. So interpersonal collaboration is a style for direct interaction between at least two co-equal parties voluntarily engaged in shared decision making as they work toward a common goal. All right, so that's a lot. Let's unpack that a little bit. So basically, it means two people who agree to work together on their own, so voluntarily, working together to make decisions with a common goal or an agreed upon outcome in mind. So, what does collaboration look like in schools? So, we've got RTI, PBIS, where teachers are consulting with each other, with administration to provide supports and interventions specifically for students who are struggling. We've got grade level teams or PLC teams working together, looking at data, looking at how to improve student learning, as well as how to improve their own teaching skills. And then finally, with special education. So we've got special educators working together with gen ed teachers who are consulting administrators and district personnel, partnering with families and community service providers to create positive educational experiences for students. So we're going to take a look at problem solving. So what is the ultimate goal of problem solving, especially between teachers? Is working together to solve the problem in a way that benefits everyone, especially students. So there's a number of steps when it comes to problem solving. So the first thing you're going to do is figure out what the problem is, and that's going to be your focus in mind. You want to make sure you're solving the right problem and you're working together to come up with solutions. And then step 2, you're going to gather specific information. So who's involved, what happened, and what are the causes or consequences of this problem? Basically, how did it come to be? The next step is you're going to explain the process. So making sure everyone's on the same page and you understand kind of what's going to go on from here, how you're going to move along and solve the problem. And then step 4, you're going to identify solutions. So come up with as many as possible, even if some are more likely than others, but you just want to make sure that you have lots of options. Step 5, you're going to summarize these solutions. So identify what the main features are, what's in common. Try to clump some of these together. Again, making sure that you've got lots of options. And then you're going to look at these solutions. So what are the pros and cons, benefits, costs? Are they feasible? who's going to be involved, how much time does it take, all those kinds of things. And then next, you're going to rate them basically, least to or worst to best. Just making sure again that you're trying to pick the best one. So that's step 8. It doesn't have to be perfect, but make sure you pick the best solution that's gonna get you where you want to go. And then you're gonna make sure, okay, this is our solution. Step 9, is everyone on board? And then you want to make sure in step 10 that you yourself, give your reasons for being on board or coming up with this plan. Again, just to keep everyone on the same page. You're going to make an action plan. So just like especially special ed teachers, or really any teacher, you want to keep data. You want to be mindful of what you're looking for. So you're going to make an action plan, and then you're going to monitor that. So checking in with your coworkers and collecting data as you need. And then finally, we are going to look at conflict resolution. So we can all agree that conflict is something that happens not just in schools, but life in general. But why does it happen? So usually it comes from a lack of knowledge. So people don't always understand what's being asked of them, why it's being asked, or how to do something. It can be a lack of will. Sometimes people just don't want to do what's being asked, and that can cause some conflict. And then finally, it can be a mismatch between skills and knowledge. So maybe you don't know how to do something, but you have the skills to do it. Or maybe you don't have the skills, but you want to know how to do something. So here are some tips to resolve conflict. Make sure that when you're talking to others, you're assertive but cooperative. So state what you need, but make sure you're listening to the other person too, because their needs are important. When you're talking, try to use I statements as much as possible. So you're stating the problem and describing how you feel, but you're not trying to place the blame on anyone else. That's why you use I statements. Like, I feel this way because this happened, that kind of thing. Make sure you're listening actively to the other person by asking clarifying questions, just to make sure that you guys are understanding each other and, again, being on the same page. Be open and willing to make changes to your views and beliefs on the situation. And then finally, you want to make sure that you work together to find a solution. All right, that's it. Thank you.